Today you're going to get back your gem or mineral. If you have not finished drawing it, that's the very first thing you need to do before you start painting. Off the supply table, I have a few different sized brushes. You probably want to grab one of each. Obviously, if it's a small spot that you're painting, use a little brush. If it's a bigger spot, use a bigger brush. And we're going to be working with watercolors today. So we're going to go over a few different watercolor techniques. Before you start painting, you need to figure out what kinds of colors you're going to use on your gemstone. So I would pick one color to start off with. So if I want an orange gemstone, from there I'm going to use analogous colors. So I can use orange, and then what two colors are next to orange? So I know that red comes before it and yellow comes after it. So those are the colors I'm going to use on my gemstone. I can use reds, my oranges, and my yellows. If you use something like blue or green, a lot of times there are more blues and greens in these watercolors, so that gives you a little bit more options to work with. But we're using analogous colors, so 3 colors that are in a row on the color wheel. When we paint today, we're not going to paint all of our gem. We're going to paint about half of it because we want to save some for painting next time as well, because we're going to do a little bit different kind of painting next time. So I am going to start with some orange action. I'm going to get my brush nice and wet and gently get some orange on my brush. So I can paint a few different ways. I could paint just putting the color right on. Looks like I need some more of my color. That's kind of boring though. Just being careful as I get to the line. I could do something called blending, and that's where I take a couple different colors and mix them together. So now I'm using a different color orange. I'm going to paint a little area, and I'm actually going to kind of overlap some of them. This is going to kind of make it look like the colors change from one to another. I could blend 3 colors if I want. Maybe I want a little bit of yellow in that. So now my gem is actually blending from yellow down to kind of almost like a macaroni orange down to like a yellowish orange, right? And I did that just by overlapping them a little bit. So you might want to do a few spots like that. You might just want to have one that is a solid color. So maybe I'm going to do a little bit of red here. Maybe a little bit of red. It's almost a pinkish red. Like that. Notice that I'm not painting a bunch of them right next to each other, because if I paint a wet spot next to a wet spot, those colors are going to want to run together. So I'm kind of letting this area dry before I paint anything too super close to it. Another thing I can do is I can paint an area. So I'm going to paint this one up here. Being extra careful. And while it's wet, I'm going to sprinkle just a touch of salt on it. You don't want to do a whole lot. We did this as second graders. Just an itty bitty touch. Right. So I'm not quite halfway done yet. I need to do a few more. There's another kind of painting technique called wet on wet. I believe that we did this as second graders as well. So I'm going to take my brush, get it nice and wet. I'm just going to paint a section with water. So painting the entire section. Careful to keep it within the lines. I know it's kind of hard. I'm actually going to do a second coat of water, because a lot of times that first coat seeps into the paper right away. Now I can come in with colors and just gently touch some spots. And this is going to let it run and spread together. Your paper is going to kind of fold just a bit, so it's going to settle in some of those grooves as well. So here's wet on wet. You could also take some salt and put salt on top of this as well. So you've got 3 different techniques that you can use. Or 4 different techniques. You can do wet on wet like I just showed. You can do blending where I mix 2 or 3 colors into each other. I could paint it just one solid color like I did up here. Or I can paint it and then put a little bit of salt on it like I did down here. Try to get about half of your painting done today. Next time we're going to come in and we're going to add some more. When I get about this far, I'm done for the day. You can see I did about half of my gem. This needs to carefully go on the drying rack. You might want to grab a messy paper just to be safe. All right, we'll finish these up next time.